Hi, this is Bob from Hobby Concepts. This is part 2 of my how to install Tamiya's MFC unit in a king hauler. Originally this was going to be a one-part video, but I couldn't render it in one part, so it's going to be 2 parts. Make sure that you watch part 1 because it's got the radio programming and a lot of the basics of putting it together. This part will be installing it in the truck, hooking up the lights, and how everything sounds when it's finished. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do for installing this is put the back bumper, the front bumper, and the control box on, because I can run all the wiring up and pull it up through here before I mount the floor back again. It just makes it a little easier to get in and work on everything. So this mounts just like the original with 4 screws. But I need to pull these wires up through here. I've already got the coupler wire I'll pull up through here. Then I'll get this back bumper and pull the wiring up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and we'll see what it looks like. I mounted the front bumper and the rear bumper and then pulled the wiring along the chassis. Looks like I need another tie wrap there to keep everything out of the mechanism. And then pulled all the wiring up between the decks. So now I'll mount the mechanism deck here, because all the rest of the wiring will be up in the body. And once this is mounted, then the speaker will mount here and the MFC unit will mount on top of that. The vibration unit will mount in here. So I'll get that mounted and then we'll start looking at lights in the body. So I've got my wiring pulled up through here and mounted this deck. Tamiya suggests mounting the speaker here, the vibration motor here, and then mounting the MFC on top of the vibration motor like that. You can still get a battery in underneath. I don't see any reason to dispute that. I could mount the MFC probably vertically like that, but it gives me a problem on where to mount the vibration motor. So I'm just going to go with the Tamiya recommended suggestion of putting it here. This thing vibrates quite a bit, so I am actually going to drill through completely and bolt this on, so I'll have to lift the mechanism deck to do that. I mounted this motor down with some nuts and bolts. The speaker's going to mount so that the front edge is flush with the floor here. And then Tamiya says to use double sticky tape to mount the MFC to the top of the vibration motor, kind of like that. But it's a little bit, I don't know, not super solid, so I cut a little piece of aluminum angle, which I am going to, actually the speaker goes like that, which I am going to mount with a couple screws to the back of that case, so it gives me an additional mounting platform for the MFC, which will make it much solider, plus it will even solidify the speaker. So I'm going to go ahead and mount that. Well, there's the bracket mounted to the speaker. So now when I tape this down, this will sit on here and here, give me a real solid mounting base. So I'm going to go ahead and tape those down, and we'll move on to the next part. The thing before I tape down the speaker is I needed to extend the wires on the servo leads so they would reach the board. And I just want to show you that I always use a piece of soft wire and thread it through the lead like this. and then just twist it till it's tight. That way the servo extensions don't come apart. That just keeps them tight. Now I'll tape it down. I've got my MFC-01 mounted. That little aluminum bracket really did the trick. This is solid as can be. I've plugged everything in, but I haven't tied wiring up yet. Well, I haven't plugged everything in. I've plugged in the on-off board, the receiver, and the servos, and the motor. So that way I can test it. So I'll go ahead and flip it on here. My transmitter's on. Turn the volume down a little bit there, so that started up good. I can run my throttle. Everything's in forward fine. Reverse is good. The steering works. And you can hear the blinkers. I don't have the lights plugged in yet. So it looks like we've got everything working. So we'll shut her down. I also don't have the vibration motor plugged in yet. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in the vibration motor, the lights, and then tie up all this wiring here and all the motor wiring. So then what that's going to leave is the wiring for the lights, and every additional light is now in the body. So I will string that all together and those will plug in here, and that will complete the installation. I plugged in the lights and tied up some of the wires, but not all of them. I'm going to do a little quick demo here so we can turn the radio on. And now when I turn the unit on, the vibration motor's hooked up, so you'll see it vibrate. I'm going to leave the sound up a little bit, and then we'll also see some of the lights working. So we'll turn it on. And you can see the vibration. Now you can actually control the amount of vibration with this trimmer right here. You can do more or less vibration. I think we're looking at about the right amount here. It's a little hard to tell without tires on it. We'll now have turn signals and brake lights. We'll have our short horn, long horn. If we flip our switch, we can now go through light functions. That turns on the lights, turns on the tail lights, and then continues to turn them off. If we go up, it'll turn on emergency flashers. If we flip our dual rate, it'll go back to the horn. So everything works just like it should. Now it's time to do the lights in the body. So now that the chassis is done, I'm working on the body. And you can see I've installed the two headlights and labeled them, and I installed one blinker. Now the instructions tell you to drill out this hole to 4 millimeters so that the bulb will fit through the hull. I don't like to do that, so what I do is pull the wires from the plug. So what I'll do is I'll mark the green side with a pen so I get it back in the right place, and then all you have to do to remove the wires are just get an X-Acto knife and slightly lift up this tab. It's going to be a little tricky to show here. while you're pulling on the wire. And it will release the little clip that holds it in, and you can pull it out. I use this for all the wires where they go through the small holes. I just hate to drill larger holes in the body. So now I can slide my wires through the hole. And on the front blinkers on the King hauler, it's another advantage because the light then will not fall out of the blinker. There's nothing else really to hold it there. I suppose you could glue it. I don't bother to do that. And then to put the wires back in the plug, you can see how it's deeper one direction, and that one slides in the back, and when they slide in they snap, and there we go, back in business. So I'll screw that on, and I'm going to do the same procedure for the lights up on the top. Instead of drilling holes, I will pull it through, and then once it's pulled through, I'll install my sticker. This happens to be the left turn sticker. Okay. Well, I talked about not drilling out the roof holes because the lights don't fit, but taking the plug off of this one doesn't do any good because there's two bulbs on it. So in that case, what I do is just take a fingernail sanding stick and sand down the lip on the bulb on both sides until it's completely gone, so it'll be flat on the two sides. I've already done this one, and then it will fit through the hole. Again, my goal here is to try to get everything done without enlarging the holes in the body. Well, I've got all those lights on. You can see that what I've done in here is used aluminum tape to tape up the wiring, and use some tie wraps to bundle them into appropriate looms. So now all I have to do is, they're all labeled, is plug them into the correct spot according to the diagram right here. So I will go ahead and plug those in and attach the body. I've got all my wires plugged in, so before I put the body on, I'll turn my radio on, and I'll turn on the truck to make sure everything's working correctly. I could start up, see the vibration. We already checked all the lights down below, so now it's just up above. So we'll check the turn signals. Left turn, right turn, those are working good. Now I have to flip my dual rate switch, and I can flip through the lights. So there's my roof lights, those came on good. The next one should be headlights. That's right, they're on. The next one is fog lights, which are down there. We already checked. And then off again. And then if I put this up, I'll get my emergency flashers. So the lights are all working right. I can go ahead and put the body back on. Okay, my MFC installation is complete. You see I've got the body all bolted on. So let's give it a little test here. We'll start my radio. I'll turn the truck on. I've got the back end blocked up on a 2x4 so I can run it. You can probably see the vibration. So now I've got my sticks will be my left and right turn, and you can see the turn signals operating here. I've got my throttle. You can see how the vibration increases as the throttle increases. And I've got my shifting. Second gear, third gear, second gear, third gear. Okay, reverse. You can hear the backing beeper. Okay, then I've got my horn sound. That's a short blast. My long blast. Then when I flip the dual rate switch, I'll get first level of lighting. You can see the top lighting. Second level of lighting is adding the headlights. And third level is adding the fog lights. So now all the lights are on, including the back lights. Fourth switch turns them all back off again. Up turns on the emergency flashers, front and rear. And that turns it back off again. And that's the functions of the MFC. So this turned out real nice. It's fairly straightforward to mount it in a king hauler, although you can't use the seats and the dash because the speaker takes up that area. Fortunately, they have nice tinted windows on the king hauler to hide everything. So there we go. Thanks again for watching. Please subscribe. I've got a lot more Tamiya builds coming up, as well as my Hemet trailer continuation. So thanks for watching.